All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to go over Facebook changes. There's been a few, actually quite a lot. So we wanted to go over a few of those. I know a lot of you guys do Facebook advertising, so we're going to get into that. But before we do, I'm going to bring on Bill Seitz, our corporate broker. Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Good morning, Kevin.
All right, good morning. And we're also going to bring Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage on the line. Hey, Cameron.
What's going on, Kevin?
We're making it happen. It's a classic fall day, California coast. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. So, Cameron, before we get into our presentation, what's happening out there in mortgage land?
All right, let me share my screen real quick. So I've got a quick little mortgage update for you guys today. I'm not going to go too much into it. A lot of it's pretty much the same as last week. And then I'm going to do a quick talk about pre-approvals because we've been having some issues with those. But basically right now, the 10-year treasury, we're up 11 basis points today at 4.111. So this is the highest the bond market has been in 19 years today. So obviously we're still fighting at that 4% threshold. Like I've been talking about, I do expect us to hopefully get back under that. But just, basically they're still selling all these bonds because there's one thing that I'm going to go over. Obviously, inflation has not really slowed down. A new report released by HUD yesterday expects for rates to kind of top out at 7.5%. Right now we're at like the 7.2% range right now. But that same report expected rates to top out at 6%. I believe that was in July. So hopefully this time they're a little more accurate, but just thought that I would mention that. But obviously what's happening is inflation just continues to get worse until we see some sort of improvement in these inflation numbers. I have them pulled up right here. 8.3% year over year for August. I think they expected it to be 7.2%. So that's over a percent difference of where they wanted it to be. Until we see these inflation numbers kind of calm down, the Fed is going to they're probably going to continue to be really strong on their current monetary policy for two reasons. One, because usually historically what they've been doing works to bring down the price of products, especially housing. And two, because they don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. If they go and they change their game plan, then they kind of lose credibility. So I think that there's a couple things that are working towards it. Obviously the inflation numbers, and then also the Fed just being stubborn with their practices. But the number one thing over everything right now is obviously energy costs. If we can find a way to get energy costs down, inflation is going to come down. A lot of the things that they're talking about right now, as far as the Fed controlling inflation, it's really just unprecedented energy costs, especially for people's utilities, which has not, we've never seen utility costs like this across the nation. We've seen high gas prices before, but with the natural gas and the coal prices and all that jazz, it's really affecting the inflation market, and that's the number one thing that we need to do is get those energy costs down, and then we'll see inflation get better, and then hopefully the Fed will loosen up a little bit. But I don't know if anybody watches Chairman Powell's minutes, or usually about every month and a half they do Fed minutes, and it's nationally televised. But you should watch it because it has a lot of good information, and it kind of lets you know what's going on in the market. But Powell literally said twice on public record now that his intention is to bring a housing reset. So what's happening is exactly what they wish to happen. So it's not a surprise that it's happening, because Powell literally said that this is what he wants. And we do expect, obviously, for prices to soften a little bit more. And we'll see, really, if inflation numbers keep going up, I expect them to soften more. And if they don't, then I expect them to kind of even out. But until we really see the stock market start to drop here, right now we're at 30,000, about the same that we were last week. This is really going to be the motivation for the Fed, is obviously the stock market. If it continues to perform obviously we've had a pretty bad year for the stock market, but the Dow being at 30,000 is still relatively strong. So if we see that start to come down, then we're going to see them adjust their monetary policy. So there's a lot of things right now that are what ifs and question marks. And just as I said last week, pretty much the same. We're just kind of really seeing what is going to happen with the market. And once we really see a pivot, a consistent pivot, then we'll have more answers. And then today, what I wanted to do real quick is just go over an example of a pre-approval that actually, I think Bill sent this to me the other day. I obviously marked out the person's name for their privacy, but a couple things that you want to look at on a pre-approval when you're working with a client. We did have, I think that Bill sent this last, like about 5 days ago, right, Bill?
Yeah, I think so, Cameron. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy you're bringing this up to everyone's attention because this is a really important part. So I'll let you start and I'll finish with my thoughts.
So first thing, obviously, is if we get this thing 5 days ago, right now with the market, like I said, it's up 11, 15, 20 basis points, and maybe it's down 15, 20 basis points per day. You need to have a pre-approval if you're looking to get to accept an offer. If you're the listing agent, you want that pre-approval to be within a few days. So, you know, if you are listing a house, I wouldn't be shy to ask, hey, can you get me an updated pre-approval? Because you're going to protect your client, and you're going to protect the buyer too, because if they put their money into escrow, and obviously a lot of times you get the money back if you don't qualify, but just taking that risk and wasting that time and maybe wasting a week or two with somebody who ends up not qualifying, you're hurting, the buyer and the seller. So first thing, look at the date, try to get a pre-approval within a couple days if you can, same day, because obviously the market's kind of fluctuating quite a bit. So we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence there. And then obviously subject property addresses isn't a huge deal, but usually when somebody sends out a pre-approval, they can run DU or LP, right? So it's good if you have a pre-approval to actually have the address for the specific home on there if you get an updated one, because that means that they're probably going to have DU or LP available so that you can check it and make sure that you can check all the boxes, that they qualify, and you have basically a little bit almost like an approval sitting in front of you day of, right? And then another thing here is the purchase price is $425,000, right? Financing type FHA, loan amount $425,000. So obviously this right here doesn't make sense because FHA still requires at least 3.5% down payment. There's nothing on here about down payment assistance, and a lot of times, basically, my point is that the people that make this, who in this example was an underwriter, that is not really who's supposed to be sending out a pre-approval, right? Maybe this loan officer doesn't even do the pre-approvals and they just have an underwriter do it. And a lot of times underwriters are not versed in the same things that loan officers are because they have a different job. So maybe this gentleman didn't even know that you need a down payment. Now, obviously, if you're an underwriter, you should know that. But the big point is that this pre-approval right here, it already doesn't make sense. So it's null and void. It's not real, right? Credit score average good, that's not a huge deal. You'd see that on DU. And then also too, the biggest thing is having, somebody who you can contact. And I think if Bill, did you try to contact these people, Bill? I believe you did, right?
I've been working on trying to find the this is about as messy as it gets. As those points that Cameron mentioned, if this doesn't raise a red flag across all avenues, I don't know what will. Unfortunately, one of our agents did accept an offer with this, and you should be super suspicious if you see anything like this. One, if you are even going to consider this financing, you immediately should know it has to be down payment assistance. There's no right? There's no way they're going to be doing an FHA loan with 0 down and 100% loan amount, unless, right, they're in some of these grant programs that are through down payment assistance. Well, we started doing some research, and a lot of these down payment assistance programs have been shouldered or put on the side, and I think it's just because of where we are in the market. Banks are realizing they don't want to be put at risk for a declining market and having exposure with 100% financing. So as we dug deeper, one, there's no contact on this as well, and there's no NMLS number on this anywhere. I couldn't find any registration with the national mortgage licensing identity. So there's no contact, there's no LO, this is just pure garbage. And unfortunately, our agent accepted an offer based on this document, and I'm still trying to unwind this thing. So be very, very mindful of this stuff, and if you have any questions, that's what we're here for. That you never want to accept an offer and think that this is going to be kosher, and this is, you're going to end up in a big situation, and we want to avoid this at all costs.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys could literally email us a pre-approval if you have any concerns, and we'll look at it for you. We have no problem doing that, because obviously we want to help you be successful and get a good offer. And then another thing to touch on too is right now with rates where they're at, almost anybody. So if you have, let's say, a client who is making $300,000 a year, right? The house that they're going to want to buy at making $300,000 a year is a higher end house usually, right? Like they want a more expensive house because they can afford it, right? So, and then somebody who maybe was making, let's say, $90,000 a year wants a cheaper house, right? Because that's what they can afford. So my point with that is that pretty much any buyer that you're dealing with, no matter their income scenario, the DTI is going to be tight right now because of how high rates are, especially if they don't have a huge down payment, because then you're looking at mortgage insurance. So pretty much any offer that you look at, you can expect for the DTI to be somewhere between 40 and 50%. Obviously, 50% is the qualifying factor for conventional loans, and for FHA, it's 54%. So basically, my point is, it doesn't matter, what your clients make. It's important that if you get a pre-approval and it's not dated the day of or within a couple of days, the number one first thing you should do is reach out to whoever wrote the pre-approval and try to contact them. And if you can't contact them, then it's probably might not work. So that's basically the whole point of what we wanted to talk about regarding this issue is just make sure that you're actively trying to contact that lender or have your buyer or whoever contact that lender to get it updated, because every day things are changing right now, and it's very important. Time of lock right now is more important than it's ever been, because like for example, today we're up 12 basis points, right? So that is about, let's say, $800,000 house. That's a difference of about $2,800 in cost, which is a difference of about an 8% of a rate in just one day, right? So that is the point. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat right now or anything, or if anybody had any questions, I can definitely stick around for a second. But that's pretty much what I wanted to touch on today.
Yeah, Albert just says could have been a VA loan.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that, let's say this is a VA loan, right? And it says FHA, then obviously there's a misunderstanding. Because if it was VA, there'd be no question, right? But it wasn't a VA loan. It was a FHA. We did clarify that. So this is just one of those things it's just wrong. And obviously a VA, if you see no down payment, then that's normal. So that's nothing to be freaked out about. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. And anything to add, Bill?
Just want to add, we're going to announce some really cool marketing collaboration with Clearview next week. So hopefully everyone will be on the webinar for that. We've got some fun, really practical, good things that we're gonna work with. Cameron and I have been talking about. So we want to have everybody on the webinar next week for that. And just lastly, we have been seeing a lot of deals fall through on financing. I know that Cameron and I were up late last night working through one of our agent scenarios. Just remember, guys, we have flexibility with our comp plan and our rate sheet that if we have to, we can maneuver to get financing done. This gentleman had a buyer that was the lender was having issues, and their debt to income ratio was getting washed out. Well, we just kind of tinkered on our side and we're able to make it work. So just, now more than ever, you really want to make sure you can get the financing done, because we're seeing a lot of deals fall through. So that's it.
There is a couple more questions, so I'll just touch on them real quick. Eugene asked about jumbo loans. So that's actually, she said, anything we need to look at carefully when buyers got the jumbo loan approval. So that's important, because for jumbo loans, the DTI ratio, the limit is 45%. With some lenders, it's 43%. So, and obviously there's no FHA for jumbo loans. So when you get a pre-approval or you get DU for a jumbo loan, you want to make sure that that DTI is below 43%, and you also, or possibly 45%, but you want to contact the lender and ask, hey, what are your DTI requirements? So for jumbo loans, remember, usually in most cases, it's under 45% DTI, and then they qualify. So it's 5% difference than a conventional loan. And then Blanca asked about HELOCs. Are these available? HELOCs are available. Just like Bill was talking about the purchase money or the down payment assistance programs, any like offset mortgage product right now is really hard to qualify for. For HELOCs, the way that they calculate the income is they basically take it over the fully amortized amount. So let's say, obviously HELOCs are interest only in most scenarios, right? So whoever it is that's getting the HELOC has to qualify on the principal and interest payment. So the DTI is a little harder to qualify, but they are available. And if you have a buyer someone who's maybe trying to get a home equity line so that they can buy another property, and they're sitting on a 2.99% interest rate and they don't want to refinance their note, that obviously makes sense, and there is ways to get that done. But just to let you know, basically DTI requirements are a little bit harder. But that being said, if you have a client that's looking to get a home equity line, we can definitely look at helping them and see if it'd work out. And but yeah, the down payment assistance program right now almost I wouldn't say impossible, but it's very unlikely that people are going to qualify with that program because of the DTI restrictions. And also something else, Home Ready and Home Possible. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about that, but Home Ready and Home Possible are basically ways to help people who are in the median to lower income areas, and their income matches those scenarios, to be able to get a little bit better rate, a little bit higher DTI restriction, and a little bit less down payment. So on a conventional loan, they could put 3.5 instead of 5%, right? But those programs right now are literally almost impossible, because whoever's in that income situation, they're not going to qualify because of where rates are at. So long story short, those special programs, take them with a grain of salt right now, because it's just really hard to qualify for them, and banks just don't want to do them. So, but that's pretty much it.
Perfect. Thank you, Cameron. Much appreciated. So we are going to pop into our presentation today. And before I do, just want to remind everybody to keep our gal, Raquel, in mind when you're opening escrows. So Raquel is there waiting for your call. Raquel Bauer, best way to get a hold of her is 949-200-9305. So she is doing a great job already. Give her a try. So Facebook has got a lot of different weird stuff going on, to be honest. They're obviously, they've changed their name to Meta. They're going in full full bore into the metaverse. So all interesting stuff, but how that relates to us is they've changed some of the ways that we do advertising with Facebook. So this, of course, is our Alta Realty Group Facebook page. This is our, and sometimes they're known as fan pages for business, but they're pages, right? And so I get a lot of questions. Sometimes agents forget how to get from their page, from their personal account to their page. So if you ever get lost, upper right corner, you're gonna have, it's probably going to be a picture of you or whatever your little favicon is there. So you can always click there, and you can always just go here and see all your profiles. So these are all the pages that I manage, and obviously you can get to your personal page as well. And so you can kind of toggle between the personal page and the business pages. So that's number one. I know that the overall kind of functionality has changed, so sometimes that's frustrating. So that's how you would toggle between your business page and your personal page. And there also there's new ways to do posts and to do advertisements. Of course, the regular way is to click here, make a post, and then you could boost the post. Now, the problem is another change is they will not allow you to boost these posts unless you have at least 100 followers. All right. So that's kind of a barrier for a lot of our agents that are new, or they're just working on, building their social media presence. So what I want to do is I want everybody to send me, we want to get some synergy here between our Alta Realty Group agents. So yeah, up here in the URL bar, this is the URL or the web address of my Facebook page. So what I would like you guys to all do is to copy this address, go to your own Facebook page, your business page, copy this and send it to me. And then that way I could put this out to all of our agents. All of our agents can like each other's pages, and we can get some really good synergy going between the Alta Realty Group agents. We've got over 270 agents up and down the state now. So it's a great opportunity for us to like each other's pages and augment those numbers. So if if you've got 50 followers, I think we can get another 50 followers for you just with Alta Realty Group agents. So that's something I definitely ask you guys to do. Copy this, right click if you don't know how to copy on your mouse, copy, and then we're going to go just open up an email, and we're going to right click again. We're going to paste that particular URL or web address, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to be able to send that out to everybody. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is some people don't understand that you can invite people to like your page. So these three little dots over here, if you click that drops down a spot where you can click on invite friends. So if you have a lot of Facebook friends, which is part of the Facebook personal world. So again, when you have a personal Facebook page, you are attracting friends. You're asking for people to be your friend on Facebook, right? We're all familiar with that. With a page, however, you're asking for people to like the page. All right. So when people like your page, when your friends or anybody else likes the page, then they will have these posts distributed throughout their feed. Okay. And so the only other way for someone to see your post is by boosting the post, right? By doing a Facebook ad. So super, super important to be able to do this kind of stuff on your Facebook page. So don't hesitate to, first of all, invite people to like the page, because you've got to have at least 100 in order for you to be doing Facebook advertising. But we also want to encourage Alta agents to like each other's pages. Really good synergy. And then you can also, when other agents do a post, you can like their posts. You can, share their posts. You can comment. And so I want to see some more. And we already do have a little bit of this synergy going, but I want to see a little bit more. So that is, the basics of that. But also Facebook/Meta has this interesting this Meta business suite. So let's open that up. Let's take a look. So this is, when I first saw this, it was confusing. Now I get it. And so this is a pretty good spot to do your advertisings. Again, you need 100 followers, but you can click and you can create posts from the Meta Business Suite. And so it may be easier for some of you to do that. So the Meta Business Suite allows you to, create a complete, post from scratch. You don't need to make a post, then boost it. So this is a different way of doing things. And you can also just post things from here too. You don't have to do an advertisement. So I want you guys to experiment with this. If you haven't gone into the Business Suite, again, you would just, from the main business page, you would click here and it would take you straight there. So that's the thing that I just wanted to get over with you guys today. There also is quite a bit of other, changes to Facebook. They have changed their custom audiences. And I know a lot of us were having really good success in uploading custom audiences. They've kind of put the kibosh on that. They do now have new lead generation ad format, which is pretty cool. So when you're creating an ad in the metaverse, you can say the type of ad I want is a lead generation ad. And so that sends you down a whole different little rabbit hole. So I encourage you guys to experiment with that. Also new ad placements and formats on Instagram. So of course, Instagram and Facebook are connected. Facebook owns Instagram now. And so there's a little bit different ad placement. So ads are coming to Explore Home, along with the profile feed that people see after visiting another account's profile and tapping on their posts. So ads in Explore are already rolling out feeds. Feed posts are in testing. So they're already doing this stuff. I don't have much experience in how that's working yet, but we'll definitely report back. Also, AI-powered multi-advisor ads. So when somebody engages with an ad, Meta will deliver similar ads to that user, and ads that are likely to be that users likely to be interested in based on the AI or the machine learning. So there's these multi-advisor contextual ads on Instagram, and they're starting to outperform campaigns, the other kinds of campaigns. So look out for those. And then also there is a beta test of augmented reality ad launchings. So that's fun, right? These ads will be available in both feed and stories. Users will be able to interact with them in a new dynamic way. For example, they'll be able to see how furniture would look in their home or how a bracelet would look on their wrist, right? So that definitely is applicable to what we do in real estate, because we do like to do things like virtual staging. So that's pretty cool stuff. So if you're confused about some of these new updates, please do reach out to me. I had a great meeting yesterday with Randy Johnson, and we discovered the 100 follower rule, and he's like, I can't boost my posts. So when he goes to his thing, this little see insights and ads says unavailable, and boost posts is grayed out. You can't boost the post. So we figured that out. So again, if you're confused about some of this stuff, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't mind going through this stuff and helping you guys with your questions. So that is the basis of my presentation today. Bill, any quick takeaways from you? Bill. All right, we may have lost Bill, but
I'm sorry, Kevin, I'm here.
okay.
I'm sorry for that. I didn't realize I was muted as well.
That happens.
Yeah, no, it's just amazing how much the stuff changes, and it's I can, it's
mind numbing.
It's like as soon as you get familiar with something, it's like it changes again. That's always the hard part. You know what I mean? You almost have to just stay fluid with it and just accept it. But we're always having to learn.
For sure. So that's why I'm just really want to make sure that you guys, if you have questions, I'm this in the same boat. I'm really trying to keep up with all this stuff and trying to make sure that I learn about these changes. So I may not know the exact answer, but I'll certainly help, and I know where to find it. And then Eugene Prince says, if I send my listing video, can you post it on our company Facebook page? Absolutely. We love that stuff. We'd love for you guys to be feeding content to us. Just like you can see on this on the screen here, we've got, some listings from Leanne Thomas, one of our new rock star agents. And these are both her listings. So we'd love to do that stuff, Eugene. So please do send me any kind of listing videos, anything you'd like me to share. Glad to do it. Good question. Oh, and then she just sent it. Perfect. Thank you. I'll get that posted for you. So with that said, guys, get out there, make it a great week. Or anything else from you, Bill? No, we appreciate your insight. And of course, we always appreciate the insight from Cameron from Clearview Mortgage. So with that said, get out there, make it a great week, a productive week, and we will see you guys next week on the webinar. Bye-bye.